Hold on. Yeah, that thing's not gonna work.
I'll
Like
put it
that.
up.
Gotta put it up on. Fucking, yeah, there we go. This is live, so. Alrighty. Welcome everybody to another live edition of the Showcase Pod. On location, I am Don Vega, joined by the Blackheart Chris Island. Again on location, we got Danny Boy, plane, trains, and automobiles today.
We do. So as we apparently this is a yearly trip. So Danny is on a train to Indiana for Paracon or something have to do with ghosts, goblins, and stuff you should and shouldn't believe. I guess.
I guess so. So, speaking of unbelievable and non-believable, we got a lot of news to cover this week here on the Showcase Pod. A lot of breaking news.
A lot of
in the
questions
wrestling world.
regarding positions and bookers, and
Yes.
we'll get into that too. So I do thank everybody who sent me messages, emails regarding resumes. I did reach out to, I believe, everybody. But we'll get into that. That's an interesting story on that. I want to give some backstory and some results on that also.
Yeah, we're live here, so we're on location. So I'm trying to see if we can get messages going here. If anybody's watching and they can leave us a comment how the sound is, if they can hear us well with the microphones here and the noise reduction in the background, that'll be lovely. But we're getting geared up to our return to the Showcase Pro Wrestling Training Center and Arena this Saturday night for another edition of Showcase Saturday Night. Uh, a lot of things going down the week before March Anniversary Aftermath. So it's gonna be an interesting night this Saturday night in Woonsocket.
We do. All the major players are going to be there. Everybody was on the card at March Anniversary and on the Aftermath card will be there.
Yes. So.
And I know the tension's still high. Again, to us, I look at it as a new season. Kind of like March Anniversary is our WrestleMania. Big stuff happens. Blowout happens after that. But again, I like the fact that people are fired up and re-energized because going in, there's a lot of things that happened this past week behind the scenes that is positive. And, ultimately the fans and the locker room are the ones that are going to appreciate it clearly down the road.
So, yeah, like you said, on the coattails of March Anniversary, this event that's going to be happening on April 10th is just as big, just as high stakes as March Anniversary was in Franklin. We have that big no DQ match with Brother Moon Reverend and Jay Evans. Your favorite, the ladder match.
Don't like
the
it.
YouTube World Championship.
Absolutely hate it.
Giving Shah Shable his rematch, and a lot of other things will happen. I hear that we're gonna have some type of coin flip to determine the contender for Rambo's championship that night.
Well, are we going to do that night or are we going to do this coming week?
Well, yeah, this coming week.
I talked to the commissioner. I talked to anyone who follows Derek K. Moore on social media. He had a post this today that was out of this world, to say the least.
Well, yeah, I mean,
so hopefully he can calm down a little bit, just to toss the coin and tell us who will begin the title match in Taunton first regarding Rambo.
Well, we'll find out that in the next couple of days here. But going right to news, I mean, we've just seen it yesterday. Big news: the return of Chris Jericho finally showing up after all this time, all this awaited time, but showing up back to AEW.
I was surprised on that. I mean, everybody, I think Danhauser wanted to see Chris Jericho. Everybody thought that was the Chris Jericho spot. And then a couple weeks later now.
All right, here we go. We're back at it again. We got bumped off. I mean, that's live for you.
Hey, we always do a live and raw uncut. So
we're back. But yeah, going back to what we was talking about, Chris Jericho returned to AEW after all the long-awaited return. We were figuring he would show up at WWE. There was still hopes that he would show up at WrestleMania. Thanks for the feedback. I just seen the message pop up on screen, and they hear us loud and clear, so that's a good
Fantastic.
thing. Uh, yeah, I was expecting Chris Jericho to at least show up at Mania. That was the last hope, but I guess that came to an end yesterday when he returned to AEW.
And I did read some articles on that. My impression is it didn't come down to money. It probably came down to creative and flexibility regarding outside projects.
Yeah,
I know I was watching a program this weekend. It was Tracker, and I heard a voice that I knew. And I'm like, who is that? I know that voice. It was Chris Jericho. So,
interesting to see what happens with his return to AEW. There was the talks that the creative, like you said, was that he didn't want to have his retirement match against Gunther and become one of the victims. Yeah, that supposedly through the talks of the independent journalist world and all the internet
yeah.
experts, talks were that they were bringing him back to set him against Gunther, and eventually,
For another 10.
uh, there you go, Chris Blacker again. Eventually, have him come in the losing effort and calling the career quits after that match.
I think the question with that is would he have been ready to do it? And it sounds like he's not.
I mean,
So,
yeah. I mean, he's been on the road with his group Fosse, and I mean, he looks in great shape. He's back to being the lean Chris Jericho with abs and all that. Much older, people complain, but Chris is up there in age, and he looks great.
yeah.
He looked great.
Well, I think the question with he probably knows the amount of money that's being thrown around now for star power.
Yeah,
Why would he end a career now when he can have a limited date career, maybe for the next 3 to 5 years,
yeah.
make a boatload of money, and have flexibility to do what he wants?
Yeah.
So,
So, we'll see what happens with that. But speaking of WrestleMania is right around the corner. My favorite time of the year is right around the corner, the Hall of Fame. Uh, as you saw, Sid was one of the last ones that was announced to be inducted into the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame this year, along with Stephanie McMahon and Demolition. And Bad News Brown is being inducted in the Legacy wing of that. Do you know anybody else offhand?
I don't recall. The thing I always think is sad is when a lot, like obviously Sid passed.
Yeah,
A lot of these guys they do too late.
yeah. Sid should have been there a long time
Yeah.
ago. He was one of the main players there for a while. Not only there, but WCW as
Yeah.
well. So, long overdue for Sid. And then WrestleMania, which we're going to be taking some picks here next week. Chris Blackheart. I believe it's 7 matches each night that are on that card now. So
Well, yeah, we'll be back in the studio. Should be both of us. Actually, 3 of us, including Danny.
yeah,
So yeah, we will do. And actually, that weekend on, if I'm not mistaken, Sunday, Moonshine doing WrestleMania.
so are you gonna be at Moonshine that night, or are you gonna be going to a baby shower, a wedding reception, a vacation?
It won't be a vacation. Ironically, I think there was a baby shower that day.
Jesus Christ!
But yeah, I won't be going to it. I refuse to go to the baby shower.
Okay, so this means there's a 50-50 chance at an appearance.
Yeah, I do wish they started a little bit earlier, but besides that,
Well, they starting at 6 o'clock. Chris Black.
well, it is.
Yeah.
All right, sir. All right, get over at 10. Okay, I did
I
think that
mean,
was
you can
better.
wrap it up at 10. I mean,
No, you gotta watch. No,
nobody's forcing you
No.
against your will to stay there past 10 o'clock. So,
okay, Mr. Grant.
I mean, Grant, Brandon Aller, thank you very much. He hears us loud and clear, and I know he's waiting for the big announcement of the new
The Booker.
Booker creative.
This will be
We'll
on
make
when you do announce that.
we'll make them wait for a little while. But yeah, you can stay until the time that you need to stay because Blackout for WrestleMania.
All right, no, I mean that could be good. I mean, Moonshine is a great local establishment. I think this is the second year they're doing it.
Yeah.
And if there's any update about Saturday, wink, wink, if they're doing it on Saturday.
Yeah.
But looks like Sunday they will be doing WrestleMania, and a lot of people from the roster of Showcase will be down there.
All right, so there you have it. News to all the viewers. If you're in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, come to the Moonshine Alley. You can look them up online. Moonshine Alley in Rhode Island. They're going to be having a Sunday night WrestleMania this year, which is on the 19th, I believe. April 19th is Sunday. So you can go down to Moonshine Alley. You might see some familiar faces there, along with watching WrestleMania. On the other hand, on other news, news that you were excited to talk about, Mr. Grant, Mrs. Grant,
Well, I wasn't excited. It's just
Janelle Grant
Yes.
is back on the media, is back on the news, and we were just reading up on.
Yeah, if anybody really wants to read it, because I think it was 40 pages. I think I read about 30 of them.
Yeah.
Just Google it; it'll come up. It's a really easy read. But what was the word that she was always? And anytime she introduced somebody in the
It felt like I was reading a script.
yeah, how did she word it? She was forced.
Yes.
Everything she was forced, right? So one of them I read, and again, it is explicit. You know, some of the characters, how she stated it.
When you like Polish Joe, or
No, not Polish Joe. But the idea was like one of them was like I was forced to go to Vince's condo.
Yeah.
Well, my first question was, how? How are you forced? You know, were you dragged there, gagged there,
Yeah.
police escort,
Yeah.
you know, paddy wagon?
Yeah.
You know, how are you forced to go there?
Yeah.
And this happened multiple times.
Well, and a lot of that relationship started even before her first day on the job, which
Yes.
a part that I didn't know, that they were already, intimate before she started. The precision that was created for her in the legal team of WWE, and then from there on, she went on to talent relations at one point.
Yeah, you read it. You people read it and put comments on there that when you're reading it and you actually think certain, she put herself in a scenario where she was part of a negotiation of a top WWE talent.
Yeah.
Talent. That's what she is saying.
Yeah.
That she was like a token or bonus for them to sign.
Well, yeah, I mean, a guy's not gonna pass on millions of dollars just because some lady doesn't want to have intimate relationships.
Yeah.
with you.
So
I highly doubt that.
yeah, so read it, and you tell us if does it sound like a Hollywood script, or does it sound like something would be viable when millions of dollars are on the line?
Well, that and all the different scenarios is. What gets me is the scenarios that when money wasn't there, and she comes from a background of money not being there because she went bankrupt, she went to law school, she lost her family. I would like to know more of that story. I would like to know how she lost.
Are you telling me if you Google her name, nothing in her past comes up?
No, they wiped out her past.
That's sort of weird.
So
there's only like one or two photos that come out, current ones.
Yeah.
And then
that video obviously talked for the first time.
Yeah, and so you have no idea of her past. I mean, put it this way, you Google yourself, and tell me what comes up.
Yeah, probably more than what comes out on her. But it's a little weird. I would like to know her background. I would like to know how her going to law school and that career went wrong. Her losing her family, her past history, on how all that came about. They went to bankruptcy and all these scenarios that happened to her. I would like to know a lot more of that because it seems like she's had a pattern of bad luck when it comes to hanging on to money and titles and decisions, no pun intended.
Well, no, the only thing that when I'm reading, the only thing that comes down to, she agrees that she did these acts. If you like them or not, I'm not here to judge the acts. I'm here to review the transaction.
Well, I mean,
Because what it comes down to is the monetary compensation is the problem,
well,
not the acts.
well, I mean, you get yourself in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
Again, no pun intended. I mean, you know,
Well, no, read that.
shit
What was that?
leaking from the forehead. I mean,
Section, I think on a 40, I think it was. There was a story on that,
yeah.
and she was complaining about signing the NDA. So she was complaining about the NDA, but she was complaining that she didn't get paid fully for the NDA.
Mm-hmm. So,
So
it
again,
goes back to a track record of
yes.
being bankrupt and hanging on to money and certain titles or whatever was promised back in her past history. So, very interesting to find out what the past history was that got her to that point. I mean, I don't think she was stupid enough to think that she was just gonna get in this $1 billion company and nothing would. If Vince already had that intention and she agreed upon that intention, I mean, it was a clear cut scenario already.
Yeah, it was. I don't.
She should have been smart, and she wanted to stop it when it started. She could have,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, interesting story there. We'll see where that story takes us. Could it be Vince that's calling Randy Orton? I mean, he probably. Who's calling Randy?
I don't know.
I mean, at this
Now
point,
I know. Okay, look at the timeline. So, will you work for WWE around 2020?
yeah, I went down to during COVID. I went to Florida when they had the dome there inside. I think it was the Amway Center in Orlando, downtown Orlando.
And did you have any interactions with her, or did you know she was down there?
I didn't even know she was down there as far as helping, talent relations, and even at the WrestleMania that she says at MetLife, that was a WrestleMania that I took a partake in, and I never met her. I mean, I might have crossed. I mean, there's so many people there, you just don't know. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Interesting. You know what? What just hit me now that you brought that up?
Nope.
Is that it's WrestleMania season again, and now she waits to all eyes are on the product to come back out.
Yeah.
It's ironic that this is the busiest time, that everybody's watching.
Yep.
She comes back out. And what was it that she did? She filed paperwork again? Or?
Yeah, it looks like she was an updated motion or a doctrine regarding the case.
Oh, she waited. This was not an accident.
No,
they waited for the time that all eyes on WWE to go back and do what she had to do and get the attention that she's seeking. So we'll find out if it pays off for her at the end of the day. But other wrestling news, you have anything else that you saw?
The only thing I can think of is there was a posting on my personal Facebook page on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Regarding an open position regarding a booker for Showcase Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
And ironically, it
got a lot of likes and shares.
We got a lot of likes. We got a lot of likes, shares, messages. So, and this is the funny part, right? If that was the case, right, that we put that out there. Now, it was real, but it wasn't. And the reason I'm saying that is it was legitimately post, and we were talking a couple weeks ago because literally, I'll tell the story how this happened. So we have Showcase Pro Wrestling, the promotion side, and we have Showcase Pro Wrestling Training Center, the training side. So we train guys, and part of training is we have conversations, and a lot of times young talent, we tell them literally stay out of the booking. And some mates, they get so caught up in the bookings and the titles and the matchmaking. So we were talking a couple weeks ago, and prior to me posting that, I said, "Hey, you still want me to post that? This is Monday night." You're like, "Yeah, post it, right?" We posted out there. One, because obviously it's April Fool's, right?
Oh yeah.
But we posted there just to find out people's reaction. And if you were one of the persons who thought about it more than a second, sent out a message, a text, an email to anyone happy that we were looking for somebody, right? Or thinking that you were applying for it because you didn't like the person who's currently doing it. I am very thankful that we are rent free in your head.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. When you're doing something, there's obviously the list of people that think they could do it better. But then when you get in depth of those job titles, and I know people that have been out there that ran any type of business, when you're doing it for yourself, is a whole different story.
It is. And people, and we were talking about it earlier today. Matchmaking is one thing.
Yeah.
Booking storylines and talent for longevity. 2 or 3 shows a month.
Yeah.
30 to 50 shows a year.
Yeah.
And having a small roster that you have to recycle is just not making them, a match and just put a match on. It's how does it make sense? Did this person wrestle,
Yeah.
at the last venue, and how did we do it? So there's a lot more to it. But this is the funny part about it is, and I reached out to some people did apply for it, right? They messaged me. Some people did not know if it was real or not.
Yeah.
They were concerned. So those who reach out for concern, thank you. They're concerned about the company. They're concerned about my relationship with you.
Yeah.
But the idea was a lot of people reached out, and good stuff actually came from that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I literally said, we're making some changes. And then the people reach out to me. I put some action on their part.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually a lot of positive came through it. So, we have some people that we're working with that we haven't worked with it for a while.
Yeah.
Which could be good. So stay tuned. Something that came out, for a little bit of a rib.
Oh, April Fools was right around the corner.
But the fact that, and this is the part I love about the wrestling business, it is the most, and I said this before, the most unreal, real business. Because people that I've known for 10, 15 years, I had no idea if it was legitimate or not.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I like. It goes on the line, and you just don't know. And that's the beauty of it.
Well, a lot of people can get worked, and the biggest offenders at times are the boys.
Yeah.
And like you said, we were talking about it earlier, and it seems like an easy task when you're looking at it from a certain standpoint. And, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you have a small roster, a roster that we kind of develop and homegrown talent that we train and create those characters to get over with our fan base, so that then they could move on and become an integral part of the shows. It's a whole different story. I wish I would have, like a lot of different promotions that run shows here in the New England scene. They have talent that's already established. They have talent that's already out there cutting their teeth, and they have somewhat of a following, and then you can just match them up and make these interesting matches, and not have to worry about longevity and storylines and twisting and turning. And then on top of that, guys, messing up their own booking, or guys getting hurt, or guys not wanting to do certain things. And when you change a scenario, it's not just that one scenario. You got to go down the whole card, because, like I said before, I mentioned this before a long time ago. If you've been watching since we started, some guys just don't click.
Yep.
And when one guy is out of this situation, now that's going to affect the rest of the card, because I just can't have certain guys in that scenario. Or it might just ruin the story that we're trying to create as a whole. So, it's easier said than done when it's a small group of guys, when you want to keep those storylines interesting and to the crowd that we have in Woonsocket or Taunton or wherever we're going. You want to keep it fresh, even if it's the same guys wrestling each other.
Yeah.
So those people that I know, I've seen some of the ones that were commenting and liking and applying and all this stuff. I mean, I guess they didn't read through the requirements. Or
Well, one of the things, so that day on Tuesday, I was in meetings like all day.
Yeah.
I was not on social media, so I think I got home like at 3 or 4 o'clock, and then I started looking at social media. And some people would text me in the morning, were very concerned of what it was,
Yeah.
then realized 2 hours later that they got worked, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, and I said this earlier, like we saw our guys on the weekend, and we saw them on Monday because we had a show at BBT. And typically at the end of the week, or when we do shows over the weekend, on Monday we do a weekend review. We go over the good, bad. Well, if that was the case, if something was changing, I would not go to social media and put it out there first. I would have had a conversation with the locker room, or either on Saturday night, or even on Monday. I would have had a conversation with the training that stuff was changing. So
Apparently, that was one of the lessons that we've talked about in the past. Not airing your
Yeah.
dirty laundry on social media and putting all these things up. And I guess they never kept that one. They never.
yeah, no, it was so good.
Yeah.
Touche. Everyone I got, thank you.
Yeah.
Those again who reached out. We're gonna do some good business on that. I think it's refreshing, to be honest with you, with some people they haven't talked to in a while, reached out for concern and or to build something new.
Yeah.
And that part I think was really good.
So, I guess you're thanking everybody for the applications, right?
I do. Well, it's not the part that kind of bothers me, right? Some people who actually wanted it, they did not go to the. It said right at the bottom, promoter at Showcase Wrestling.
They never emailed you?
They wouldn't email me. So in true wrestling fashion, they screwed up their own finish.
Well, Yep. So I guess for the time being, for those that were upset, I wish I had what's his name to do it because he did it greatly. The bear of bad news, bad news Barrett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. For the time being, we're still working. I mean, this has been a big process, and we've changed a lot of things, and it's been a work in progress, and it remains the same. We've seen a lot of people come and go. I mean, we kept things going during COVID. I mean, those were trial and error times, and while everybody else was just hibernating, we continue to put out stuff, and that's how the YouTube channel you see now has grown. With all the subscriptions that we have currently now, and even building up to having this podcast weekly. I mean, people will see it because they're watching it and it looks, oh yeah, they're just having a grand old time and they went to a place. No, this is consistent work every week. It's a commitment that you have to have every week to do this. It takes a lot of time, and to be doing this for like almost 2 years now, time flies, and everything's a commitment. It's not as easy as
that. I mean, you can see this change. You look at the website, showcasewrestling.com. We have a Shopify store where you can buy merchandise from Law of the Talent, which Commissioner's merchandise just dropped. Eric K. Moore shirts, phenomenal, by the way. So stuff like that. A lot of patients don't do that. So we try to do with our talent, between the social media expanding, the YouTube. The YouTube, when we tell them this is an infomercial, typically for an hour, we're going to be showcasing the talent on it. It's not about Don Baker. It's not about myself. It's about the talent and growing the company and expanding. And I think this summer we should be showing it because we have a lot of things that will hopefully button up the next hopefully 2 weeks, could be even quicker.
Yeah.
Regarding outside events. So a lot of places are sleeping during the summer. We're about to have, hopefully, the busiest summer we've had. I won't say ever, but it could be.
Yeah. Oh, on that hand, when people look at the job title booker or whatever, my experiences personally, not only booking here for the amount of time that I've been the booker here, but other places that I've had the book, I've always tried to do more than just coming up with the stories and putting out the shows and working on the matches and the talent. There are things that need to be done, and if those things need to be done, I'm always there to try to help. And that's the part that people don't understand when you're sitting there thinking it's just pen and paper. there's been scenarios where we got to get our hands dirty to get a show going. I mean, we've had that throughout the years. You know, even when we brought in talent, outside talent, how many times we had to reschedule shows, reschedule talent, reschedule flights. I mean, and we still delivered.
Yeah.
These are things that are not the job of the booker, but you're part of a company, you're part of a team, and shit has to get done. And we've managed to do that. And that's the glorious things that people don't want to include themselves in, you know.
Well, yeah, I think people, and as a fan, they don't realize the 2 hours that you have at an event for Showcase Pro Wrestling events. It takes much longer than 2 hours for setup, breakdown, everything behind the scenes.
Yeah. So this is just never ending. You know, when you're running a company, like you said, if you're running 50, 60 shows a year, it's just never stop. Never ending. We're creating new talent. Like I said, a lot of the talent that you see is homegrown. So it makes it a compacted, small roster. And to keep things going fresh and interesting, it's not as easy as you might think it is. So, you know, with that being said, again, we're getting ready for our next event on April 4th, coming up now this Saturday night, Showcase Saturday night at the Training Center, 126 Main Street in Woonsocket. I mean, this is just going to be that stepping ladder, no pun intended, to the aftermath that is coming up on April 10th when we're back in Taunton. And, you know, a lot of things are going to happen on the 4th. You want to be there. I mean, Woonsockett's been up and down, more up than down lately.
Yep.
So, you know, tickets on sale for those events. ShowcaseProWrestling.com. You go on there, you click on buy tickets and scroll down and click on your event and get the tickets for that.
Yeah, there's no sticker shock there. It's not WWE prices. Woonsocket is $10. Next weekend and Taunton, everything's $15.
Yeah.
So dance tickets are always good because you know you're going to come in. As you know, March anniversary is always the one time a year that you may or may not get in if you don't pre-buy. But on this Saturday night, if you do forget to buy it online, go to the door. We'll save a seat for you.
Yeah, there you go. Big wrestling weekend this weekend and the following weekend with Aftermath. And then the next night will be at the Sturbridge Hotel in Sturbridge, Massachusetts for Spring Breaking 2.0. Powerhouse Wrestling New England returns, and a big main event that was signed a few months back. Carlito Caribbean Cool will be taking on the coolest bro, Matt Riddle, in a first time ever encounter between those two stars. I mean, it's going to be an interesting night. Joe Gertner's a big part of that show. As you know, ECW, many years, Joe was an intricate part of ECW, an original. He's going to be making his Powerhouse Wrestling debut. I don't think he ever worked for Powerhouse during that time we were having all the ECW individuals. A good friend of ours is scheduled to appear Saturday night, April 11th in Sturbridge. John Cena Sr. says he's going to be in the house.
In ages, John. Come out, give me a nice big hug.
I don't think he wants to give us any type of love that night. I'm interested to see what he's got up his sleeve coming on April 11. Other matches that have been signed, the Young Guns Championship will be defended as self-proclaimed. People are saying self-proclaimed, but he did turn 22.
Who?
The champion, Christopher Spratt.
I'm questioning both of them.
Will take on the newly crowned one half of Showcase Tag Team Champions, Shia Shable, who claims he's 20 years old and 199 pounds. So,
No.
you know, I've been hearing through the grapevine, though, that somebody has a problem with that, and he's been kind of a thorn to Shia Shable lately. D-Rex, he's going to be appearing at the Powerhouse Spring Breaking 2.0, and hopefully it doesn't I mean, if I was Shia, I would keep an eye out for this.
Shia, if I was you, I would take out D-Rex in the Showcase ring.
I mean, he could do it the night
this
before.
Saturday night.
Yeah, he could do it the night before as well.
Yeah, or in that ladder match in Taunton.
I mean, his
Make sure-
opportunity
yeah.
is going to be there the night before spring breaking at
Yeah.
the aftermath.
Because I know for a fact D-Rex is 18.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And I know that because the WWE paperwork he did for medical a couple weeks ago. Because people don't know this, he was one of the
guys
showcase
going
guys.
yep.
Who went to Madison Square Gardens and was at Boston 2 weeks ago.
So talk about two, before we move on for that, talk about two of the mega buildings, the history of wrestling, even though Boston TD Garden now was, refurbished or new, still one of those arenas that, it's an experience, let alone Madison Square Garden. That's where all the big names, all the stars, I mean, there's the who's of any genre of entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a sports guy to say the least, but the legends who have been in there.
Yeah, like I said, any genre of sports and entertainment has been in Madison Square Garden. So kudos to D-Rex and Brotherman Reverend took a part on those dates as well. So kudos to those guys.
Well, who else do we have in Boston? Who do we have? Danny Cabral was there. Logan Macchia.
Yeah.
So kudos. It's huge.
Yeah. Definitely. A big opportunity just to walk through those doors and just to be in that environment. Hopefully, it was a learning environment, and you get a lot just by being in that environment. So hopefully, they take that and put it in their back pocket and it leads to bigger, better things down the line. Maybe actually having a match in one of those buildings in the future. But going back to Powerhouse Wrestling, April 11th. Tickets on sale now. Eventbrite.com for that event. You can go to Powerhouse Wrestling NE on all social media and just use the QR code to get tickets. They're moving fast. The ringside, I believe, is nearly sold out for that event. So get your tickets for that one. It's going to be a big night. Big tag team match as one half of the Puerto Rican Kill Crew, Rambo Godfrey and Alex Rated, will take on the debuting team of the Brett Winners, coming all the way from Battleground in PA to take on that big challenge, because I know it's going to be a big challenge. No one wants to take an L, and I don't think the Puerto Rican Kill Crew is going to be doing that anytime soon. So, I mean, I've seen these guys are hell of a talent. One guy's like 6'5". They got some work. I mean, we've been scouting, so Rambo and Alex will be prepared for that encounter. But Spring Breaking 2.0, Carlito, Matt Riddle, Joe Gertner. I'm gonna be in a open challenge for the Powerhouse Wrestling Heavyweight Championships. The Young Guns Championship will be on the line. All that more, man. Get your tickets. Powerhouse Wrestling NE for that event, April 11th in Sturbridge. What else you got tonight, Chris Lark?
I think it's time to wrap it. We had a lot of good information. Again, every time follow us SP Wrestling on all social media between TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
We gotta start posting more on TikTok. We gotta get.
I usually do at least once a week.
Yeah, we gotta get the TikTok going. Do some actual videos of different guys and all that. And leave us a comment if you're interested in seeing the outside things you don't see of your favorite SPW wrestler or star. Leave us a comment.
If you look, I know a lot of the younger talent, they like posting on Instagram.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content being blown out that we're being tagged in and collaborated on from Showcase Talent. So some days there's nothing on the apps, nothing on Netflix, Prime, and never mind local TV or cable. The content that our roster is posting, it is entertaining, it is informative, and if you're not following them, watch it, like it, follow them, because there's some of the best stuff out there.
Well, speaking of following and watching, just dropped the first ever Showcase Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame is up now at the YouTube channel here, SP Wrestling. What a great night that was. You could relive the moments, the stories of the inductees this year at Showcase Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. And yesterday, it just dropped. March of Mercy 19 is up and
How many hits?
We were about near 700 the last time I checked. So, go check that out. What a great event. What a great night that was. Again, thank you to all the fans that showed up at Franklin for that event. We raised a good amount of money for the charity that night. And, segueing, if you have a charity, you got a school, a team. I mean, we've done it all. We'll do it again. Contact.
Promoter at showcasewrestling.com. If you can't remember that, just Google Pro Wrestling Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Rhode Island, Pro Wrestling Woonsocket, anything like that, we come up.
So there you have it. If you want us, if you want a professional wrestling event of any kind, I mean, from the guys you see weekly, from the guys you see on television, we can provide that. We just got to sit down and get it together, and we'll work with your organization to get some money and get things rolling. So. With that being said, that's all we have for today, I believe. Quick one here on location while Danny takes those trains and automobiles to
And I
Terracon.
think U-Hauls too.
Well, that too. But hopefully next week we'll be back to our norm at the studio. If not, we'll still have to get it done. And we'll be back here for another episode of the Showcase Pod for the Blackheart, Chris Island, and Don Vega. We will see you next week in the Showcase Pod.